my name is Lecoutere. I will present joint work with Marrit van den Berg and Ellen de Brouw. We investigated changes over a year with COVID-19 in women's empowerment in the household, women's diet diversity and the relationship between these in southern Bangladesh. Early on, it was projected that women's empowerment would be negatively affected by COVID-19 and the public health measures due to loss of informal jobs, access to finance, heavier care work burdens, and gender-blind measures. Diet diversity of women was projected to deteriorate due to supply constraints, price volatility, purchasing power challenges, and reduced bargaining power of women in their household. So we sought evidence and we repeated 26 questions around women's empowerment and diet diversity asked in an in-person baseline survey conducted in November 2019 in a phone survey in November 2020. Note that other changes happened as well, for instance, the cyclone Amphan, so we cannot attribute all change to COVID-19. In our models, we also controlled for individual and household characteristics, changes in household income, changes in household income, and food supply constraints. We found that contrary to projections, the chance that women work outside the home increased over the year with COVID. It went from 7% to 16%. In terms of women's empowerment, there was no change in women's income use autonomy and involvement in food purchase decisions. Women's diet diversity improved over the year. Women consume on average 1 food group more, from 4 to 5 food groups. And we found a positive relationship between change in women's involvement in food purchase decisions and change in diet diversity, a negative relationship with change in women's income use autonomy. Take-home messages. Contrary to projections, there is evidence of women having gained outside employment over the year with COVID. There are mentions that demand for female labor increased over the year because it was cheaper and more available. Possibly this is distress employment that we see, but we see it quite a long time after the start of the pandemic and the most severe measures. So it may have become more acceptable for women to work outside the home. Women's diet diversity increased. Other studies also show coping mechanisms, people using savings, reducing other expenditures, and keeping consumption quite stable. In the case of Bangladesh, there could have been also reduced marketing of own agriculture production. For instance, there was a scare that poultry products spread COVID, so eggs were hardly marketable. Also, other perishables like milk or vegetables were difficult to market. And the last key message, I think, is that we need evidence to know what happened during the COVID. Thank you.